Don't mind us. We're just sitting here talking football, waiting for the Buckeye game to start. Oh, did you want to join us? All right, then. This is the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. And presented by Logan Services, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Tim May, the Big Cat Andy Katzenmoyer, and Anthony Rothman.
All right, here we go. Can't wait, but we got to wait a little longer. Oh, about 3 hours and 45 minutes, most likely. Anthony Rothman here in studio with my man, the Big Cat, the former All-American linebacker, Andy Katzenmoyer, Tim May in Atlanta. I can't call it Hotlanta because I hear it's freezing. We'll get to that, but they're playing the game indoors, climate-controlled. We have arrived at championship night, Big Cat. We have arrived from a team that I think had us all in shock late November to now in nearly late January, and what a difference it has made. Give me your feeling tonight. This is one of those things that I said it to you before the show. I'm not going to be the guy to say, oh, just guarantee everything, and if they don't win, I'm going to walk from here to Chicago. Not doing that. I'm just telling you that I feel like there's not a tangible advantage that Notre Dame has over Ohio State on paper. Not a tangible one. You can talk me into turnovers or a special teams blunder or a stupid penalty. We've seen those. Stuff we can't predict. But I want to ask you on paper, what's your handicap here? What's your tail of the tape on paper? Do you think Notre Dame has an advantage in any certain area?
We did speak about this briefly, yes, before we got in the air. I don't know if Notre Dame has a player advantage or even a grouping advantage versus Ohio State. Doesn't mean they're a bad team. Of course not. No. Obviously, Ohio State's loaded across the board, but it sounds, as a player, everything tells me that what I'm saying is wrong, because there's always, you can't discredit a team that's gotten this far as in Notre Dame. This is a series now. Listen, back in the day, and you come from the 90s, and so do I, feel like some sort of time machine. We came from the 90s. But I feel like everyone had a rivalry with Notre Dame. If you were a big branded program, like that was the team you wanted to beat. They had the history, the iconic status, and all that. But I look at this, and this is going to be only the 9th time in history that they've played. Now, this has been one-sided. Ohio State's won a half a dozen in a row, and Notre Dame's won those ones in the 30s. But does it feel like a rivalry to you? How can an 8-game series be a rivalry? Maybe it is one. No. Flat out no. Last year I was actually at Notre Dame, and everything went Notre Dame's way. Ohio State didn't play great, and then Ohio State, that last drive, they come out and they score to win the game, and just the fans' reaction was almost like they were expecting something like that to happen because they were playing Ohio State. And just over the course of the last, handful of meetings, Ohio State has pretty much dominated, all three phases of the ball. So for that very reason, that's why this game scares me. Because there isn't really anything that stands out as them being great. You never get scared. And the history of Ohio State and Notre Dame has been, as of late, Ohio State. Did you want to beat them as badly as anybody in the 90s when you played them? Did you compare it at the time to like a Michigan feel or a Penn State feel when they, come into the conference in the 90s? How did you rank Notre Dame in your mind of programs I want to make sure I beat? It was, coming in my freshman year, it was my first away game. It was the one school that did not recruit me. So, yes, I wanted to send a statement to Notre Dame that they made a mistake. Wow. But, it was nothing. It was nothing like playing a Penn State and nothing even like playing a Michigan as far as the having to come. Like, obviously I was excited, but just playing a Big Ten rival and then the rival Michigan, whatever, all that stuff is something different. We've noticed the coaching aggressiveness with Ohio State since Michigan. That was its own one-off, its own entity.
there's been a lot of talk about how they've used that for good. There's no way you could ignore that. Of course they have.
Right.
There's a lot of pride and anger that got swirled around in that program after the Michigan loss. Where were you on doubt then? I wasn't. I was always that was a strategic blunder, not a talent blunder. I didn't feel like, now did they play their best? Of course they didn't. But I never started to doubt I never doubted their ability to win a title after Michigan. The only thing I doubted is I didn't know from a motivation, from a mindset, what was going on inside the program, whether it would kind of splinter a little bit with finger pointing and blaming this and the coach under fire and all that. But it seems like that the Michigan loss did light a different fire under them to play with no regrets. And maybe that came right from the head coach.
Well, yeah, to your
coach with no regrets.
To your point, when you bring in outside, I guess guys outside the program, transfer portal, and then you have a tough loss against Oregon early in the season, you rebound, you come back, and to me, Ohio State played such a bad game offensively. It could have been very easily finger pointing and division within the locker room. Offense, defense, offensive players against each other, whatever. But to have them rally, come dominate Tennessee, play Oregon again, dominate Oregon, and then really out-slug and out-fight Texas is quite impressive.
When did you know that they would be here tonight? Was it after the first quarter of the Tennessee game, or were you still in doubt going into the Oregon game? When did you know that, this is who I knew they could be, and they will be playing tonight?
I would say.
Or did you not know?
Probably the second touchdown against Oregon.
Okay.
I mean, Tennessee coming in, playing in the shoe is in that kind of environment is something different. Like, they just weren't ready for that.
Yeah.
Flat out. But Oregon posed that was the one team that that beat Ohio State, despite it was at home. But it was their one blemish where everything kind of went the way Ohio State wanted to go. They just couldn't pull it off in the end. So it was second touchdown to me. I'm like, they're gonna make the run for sure.
Yeah. Our guy in Atlanta is the one and only Tim May, and he's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium getting ready like the rest of the media. My man, it's great to have you. And this is the night that we all thought could happen. We didn't know if it would happen, and now we're here. How do you see this clash tonight?
I see it basically from the end zone, because that's where the press box is here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Number one. Number two, and by the way, it's glad to be on with you guys. I see it being, clinically, I keep using that word, that Ohio State is the deserving favorite in this game by how much, whatever it's going to end up being favored at the end. I'm not sure what the smart money's doing. You keep more up with that, Anthony, than I do, but an 8 to 15 point favorite I think is legitimate in this game, because I think Ohio State, like you opened with earlier, you definitely give Notre Dame a puncher's chance, or whatever you want to call it in that regard from a cliche standpoint. But Ohio State, I think, from top to bottom, when you analyze it, is the better team. I think Ohio State has a comparable defense, and that's what Notre Dame really hangs its hat on. I think Ohio State's rushing game can be as good as Notre Dame's tonight. We will see. But then where Ohio State has the advantage is in the passing game. As the old saying goes, if you can protect Will Howard, or maybe can't protect and get him out on the edge, there will be opportunities there against this insistent man-to-man defense that Notre Dame plays, I do believe. And but it still has to play out in front of you. The interesting thing here is the last two national championships Ohio State has won, it was the underdog going in, including against Oregon back in 2014 season, and definitely against Miami in 2002, 13-point underdog in that game, and won that game. Now almost everybody who's anybody is picking Ohio State, except for maybe Lou Holtz.
That's bad, but there we go. That's probably maybe a good point to end on. Everybody except Lou Holtz.
Makes sense.
And scattering maybe the guy behind the glass of this show right now. We'll get into Notre Dame and what type of problems they could present for Ohio State. Your kickoff forecast sponsored by Buyers Auto. Come see why it's better to buy from Buyers. I'm hearing about 25 degrees outside Mercedes-Benz Stadium tonight in Atlanta. So they still got us beat. But inside it'll be perfect, about 70 degrees. And that's where our man Paul Keels will be calling this game tonight. He's back in Atlanta. They were there a couple years ago in that just epic battle against Georgia. We'll find out if tonight is the night from Paul Keels. When we come back, it's the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show right here on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter from my friends at Affinity Whole Health. Make 2025 your year and finally feel like yourself again. Don't just set goals. Allow Affinity to help you support them. The people at Affinity Whole Health, they're experts in GLP-1s for weight loss therapy, testosterone replacement therapy, and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So you can rock 2025 with a sustainable weight loss plan and more energy, increased muscle, and better sleep. It's all great. Get started at feelgreatcolumbus.com and turn your resolution into reality. That's feelgreatcolumbus.com.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone from my team at Valley Ford of Columbus. 2025 is here, and as a real Valley Ford customer, I urge you to get online to see all the New Year's savings at valleyfordofcolumbus.com. Ford F-150, Bronco Sports, Mustang, Mach-E's. Valley has the massive selection to choose from, plus the lease and financing deals that have you rolling into 2025 with huge savings. Go to valleyfordofcolumbus.com today for all the details. That's valleyfordofcolumbus.com.
Keep on trucking with Valley Ford of Columbus.
At Buyers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Buyers.
We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to The Fan. Very good. Now set the second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to The Fan's HD3 and save The Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
Ever thought about teeing off in Ohio Stadium? Well, now's your chance with Upper Deck Golf. Play around in the shoe, April 24th through 26th. Bring your friends and hit shots from the upper deck onto custom greens on the iconic field below. You'll start and end your round at the stadium clubhouse with great music, cold beer, food, and interactive golfing challenges. Make it a VIP experience with additional perks, including free entry into driving, chipping, and putting challenges. Tee times will go fast. Join the waitlist now at upperdeckgolfing.com to book a tee time. That's upperdeckgolfing.com.
She, lying there longingly, hopeful. Perhaps this is the night he tries. You, before the bathroom mirror, bearish Betty hanging over the worn elastic of your briefs. If only there were a way to help you muster the fire, the attention span. Alas, there is a place, nay, an oasis plentiful with wands and rings, potions and elixirs to restore your vitality, your passion. Lion's Den, the official oasis of pleasure, passion, and romance.
What's better than cheering the Buckeyes on to victory? Wearing our exclusive collection of OSU jewelry as you watch. Hi, this is Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. We're an officially licensed jeweler of The Ohio State University, and we've created beautiful Buckeye jewelry that will last a lifetime. From Blocko earrings to Diamond Script Ohio necklaces, we've got luxury Buckeye gifts starting at $99. No matter where you're watching, show your Buckeye love at the Diamond Cellar, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
It's Toyota truck and all-wheel drive season, with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, including all-wheel drive versions of the best-selling Corolla. Now through February 3rd, get low-rate financing on a Corolla, or lease a gas-powered 25 Corolla LE for $229 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS, tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details, or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Well, the cold is not going anywhere anytime soon. Today, look for partly sunny skies. Today's high only 12. Tonight's low down to 4. The wind chill on your Tuesday morning will be between 0 and -15. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Football season is weird because we actually look forward to Mondays. It's Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys.
The Fan. You're listening to the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HEARD. That's 614-GOT-HEARD. And presented by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Anthony Rothman. It's time for the Big Daddy Report with the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. The Waterworks Plumbing and Drain team can break through any block. We're standing by to take your call at 614-232-2222. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
All right, both teams may feel a little bit of destiny, a date with destiny here tonight because of the way they won their previous games, both in dramatic fashion. Ohio State certainly with the Jack Sawyer scoop and score, and the way Notre Dame picked off Penn State late in that game and turned it into a game-winning field goal. So they both feel like they're coming in off a little bit of drama. Our man is no stranger to that. He's Paul Keels, the voice of the Buckeyes, who will be the man on the mic for this one. Paul, it's got to feel familiar. A couple years ago when they almost pulled it off against Georgia back in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. How does it look to you?
That looks good. We were just here a month ago for basketball, too, Anthony, when Ohio State took a big L against Auburn. But, yeah, it's a great setting. We've noticed, even though we're not right downtown, we noticed a lot of fans for both schools filtering all around Atlanta as we were checking and getting credentials yesterday. Fortunately, it's inside because it's 28 degrees here in hot Atlanta right now. So, but, yeah, both teams have had a little bit of destiny with the way they've played and getting big plays. But, you know, in a playoff situation, that's what you want to see, big plays being made by a team that wins late in the game.
How you doing, Paul? Andy Katzenmoyer here.
Andy, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, buddy.
Thought I recognized that voice.
I know. It's very distinctive. So this is obviously the third time Ohio State's played Notre Dame in the last 3 years. And Ohio State's won the last two. Do you foresee anything changing that tonight?
I don't. Now, again, that's wishful thinking, but a lot of that, Andy, is going to be predicated on, number one, Ohio State taking care of the football because Notre Dame leads the nation in takeaways. And by and large, Ohio State has been pretty good about that. Certainly jumped up and got them in the Michigan game with a couple of turnovers, but they were able to survive the turnover that they had last week against Texas. There's also the factor that unfortunately, Notre Dame has some injuries that occurred earlier in the year and injuries that occurred just a week ago at key spots. Could that be a factor in helping Ohio State, especially the way this defense and the defensive line is played, take advantage of some of the banged-up players that Notre Dame has or doesn't have on their offensive line? But certainly there's a mental aspect. You know it, Andy. You played football at a high level. There's a mental aspect to all of this. Both of these teams seem to be playing very well, but, we're more familiar with what Ohio State's been through, just the mental approach ever since that loss to Michigan. And they just seem to be a team that is bent on whether it's playing angry, playing with a chip on their shoulder, or it's developing the momentum that they have. And that's what gives you faith in their ability to play well in this game. Now, Notre Dame's won 13 games in a row, too, ever since maybe one of the most head-scratching losses of anybody in the country when they fell to Northern Illinois. So, obviously, they've had some good things going. They were tested in their game against Penn State without question. But you just like the way Ohio State has mentally as well as physically rallied around this mission of the playoffs.
Hey, Paul, this is Tim May.
Hey, Tim May, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm right around the corner from you here. But I wanted to ask you, when you know you're about to call a game that will be of historical significance, how does it change your preparation? It sounds like maybe a strange question, but I would think, you've got a little more tingle going into this one than maybe you did getting ready for the Marshall game way back in September. But, how does it change your approach, or does it at all? Or do you try to work against that?
That question's been asked a lot this week, Tim, and the best way to answer it is we prepare for every game. And when I say we, it's Jim and I and Skip and Matt and DR and Colin. we prepare for every game like it's a championship game. We don't want any game to sound on the radio like it's any less important than another game. Certainly the stakes and what's on the line here, it's very obvious with it being a national championship game, but you have to realize, too, that, when the Akron game or the Western Michigan game or the Marshall game gets out of hand, there's a lot of people in their cars in the parking lot listening while they're leaving Ohio Stadium. So you don't really do anything different in getting ready for a national championship game. We've been fortunate to be able to do quite a few of these. The biggest challenge is just what goes into, the time factor, everything being interwoven with basketball season going on and getting the time to prepare for that. But, there's obvious differences. There's bigger stakes. The plays are that much bigger and all of that. But we want those that are listening to Akron and Marshall and Western Michigan feeling that we're doing the same justice to those games on the radio that we are a national championship game.
Paul Keels with us, voice of the Buckeyes down in Atlanta, getting ready to call the national championship game here on the Fan and Ohio State Sports Network. Let me ask you this, Paul. You've been around Ryan Day all season. He was under such fire after the Michigan game, and justifiably so for a lot of people around here. What have you noticed in his demeanor, his edge? It seems like he's got it back again. He's calling a very aggressive game. There are no regrets in the way they're trying to call a game, but just being around him, have you noticed anything different between post-Michigan and tonight?
There's been a difference through the playoffs, Anthony. Going into the Tennessee game, you could see a real edge. At least I could feel an edge. Ryan's great with all the things we have to do with him, so let's say that going into it. But you could tell that there was kind of a renewed purpose for what they needed to do on the heels of the Michigan game going into the Tennessee game. You've seen that same edge, but maybe, I won't say softer, but maybe not as hard an edge after they jumped out and won the game the way they did against Tennessee. It just seemed as though they really were able to surround themselves with the new life they found in the playoffs. And, that's the whole new world that we have now where, in years past, they would not have been in the postseason. So that edge is still there. We've seen the joy that the coaches and these players have had because of their success, but also just how they're approaching the game. And, everybody remembers the image that they saw of Jack Sawyer lifting Ryan Day up off the field, off the ground after that defensive touchdown. That tells you a lot about what these players think of this coach and this coaching staff, and you've heard the comments from Ryan Day. It tells you a lot about what he thinks about these players and what they've been through and just kind of the emotional and physical relief that they've been able to have after winning these 3 games leading up to this date.
So, Paul, there's a lot of conversation about how these two defenses for Ohio State and Notre Dame have been so dominant this past year. What similarities and differences are there between these two?
Well, I think with Notre Dame, the similarities, Andy, the way that these two teams have taken the ball away from their opponents. Notre Dame with 32 takeaways and, leading the nation in that category, 19 interceptions. I believe they have, I don't have it right in front of me, 6 defensive touchdowns they've scored. Ohio State, 10 interceptions, 4 defensive scores, and really with the way you look at how they have broken up passes here in the 3 playoff game stretch. I think that's where you certainly see overall the advantage that both of these teams defensively have had. What Ohio State's done that's maybe been a little different is the way they've been able to bring pressure on the quarterback, not just from the 2 defensive ends that have played at a high level, but the way that the defensive tackles and the guys inside have played, the way you've seen Caleb Downs with run support and the things he's done to affect that, as well as Lathan Ransom and the linebackers as well. Notre Dame, it's probably been more of that coming from their up front guys than maybe their defensive secondary and all that, although their back end has made crucial plays when they've needed them. Case in point being Christian Gray's interception of Drew Aller at the end of the game that set up their game-winning field goal last week. So I think that's where you see some of the differences. But the similarities are just how, at times, each team's defense has had to carry them while the offense has had to, whether you want to say adjust, diagnose what the opponent's doing. But these defenses have continued to play really at a high level all year.
Hey, Paul, real quickie for me. By the way, the officials are getting their pictures taken down on the field. So, SEC officials, we'll see how that goes, right? But one player from Ohio State, other than the obvious few, who has risen and is really contributing from your vantage point, that was a little bit of a surprise for you at this point in the season.
That would be a surprise at this point of the season?
A little bit of a surprise, yeah.
I guess you'd have to say, because of what they've been through, maybe the offensive line as a whole, and also in particular that rotation you've seen of Luke Montgomery, Austin Sarabelt, and Tegra Shabola at the guard positions because of the injuries they suffered. That group did not have a good day against Michigan. Now, Michigan's defensive front is maybe the best that Ohio State will have seen all year, including Notre Dame's. They did not have a good day. The way that they've been able to learn from that, move on from that, I think certainly Luke Montgomery playing has allowed him to get a chance to do some things he wasn't doing most of the season, but probably lit a fire under the other two guys as well to see them play at the high level, and that's allowed Donovan Jackson, who's done an incredible job moving out to guard, to play at the level that he has. So that's maybe a group that maybe deserves a little more credit than, and not that they're not getting credit, but maybe deserves to be talked about a little bit, the way they have overcome, you think about it, the injury to Josh Simmons, the injury to Seth McLaughlin. Keep in mind, too, remember Zen Mahalski got hurt when he was replacing Josh Simmons, even though Mahalski's back playing now and he's in the portal. But the way that group has been able to pull together and give the rest of the offense a chance to operate, I think that certainly has been worth giving a little more attention to.
Great point. Great setup by our man, Paul Keels, the voice of the Buckeyes. Thanks, Paul. We'll talk to you at the end of the show. Appreciate you.
Sounds good, guys.
Thanks. That is Paul Keels, and our chat with him is sponsored by The Waterworks, plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Who will be the X factor from us and the guys that will shine in He's So Money? We'll let you know next. Game day coverage sponsored by Riker Chevrolet on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
No hot takes, no dancing, plenty of stupid. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Kurgis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Kurgis & Associates, attorneys who care.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
We're dealing at Reichert Ford. That means we got the car you need at the price you want. But don't take it from me. Hear it from
Ohio State captain Travion Henderson.
Reichert has what I'm looking for.
Defensive star Jack Sawyer.
Grew up watching these guys on TV. My family's bought tons of cars for them.
Cody Simon.
You get the right car at Reichert. With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Thousands of vehicles are waiting at ReichertFord.com.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Jeff Dunham, Artificial Intelligence, his all-new tour.
Just don't have. You're the other white meat. RJ, how can you be so smart on one hand and so stupid on the other? Well, you're half of it. I realize I could have avoided all this years ago with one simple word. I do not. Silence!
Don't miss him, Columbus. February 19th, Nationwide Arena. Tickets on sale now only at jeffdunham.com. Bobby Carpenter once sold workout equipment on QVC Canada. There's no joke here. That actually happened. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Combat falling interest rates now. Lock in a 5-month certificate from Kemba Financial Credit Union and earn up to 4.35% annual percentage yield compared to the 6-month national average of just 1.75% APY. Visit Kemba.org for details. Hurry! This exceptional rate offer expires February 28, 2025. Average CD rate reported by Bankrate.com. Restrictions apply. $500 minimum deposit required to open and earn stated APY and $250,000 maximum deposit. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Sarah, Happy New Year. You look amazing. How are things with you and Mark?
Lisa, I can't thank you enough for telling me about Columbus Men's Clinic. We've totally rediscovered each other. He's working out, and we're doing more as a family than laying around watching TV.
I told you, they're incredible. My husband and I had the same experience. It's like having that spark all over again, isn't it?
Exactly. It's more than the physical. It's the connection, the energy. It's the best gift we could have given ourselves.
This new year, make the resolution that changes it all. Columbus Men's Clinic brings you proven options for ED, low testosterone, and enhancement. Reignite your drive try, rebuild your confidence, and show up in the moments that matter most.
Here's to more love and more joy in the year ahead. Cheers to that.
Book your appointment today at columbusmensclinic.com or dial 614-300-7400. That's columbusmensclinic.com or dial 614-300-7400. Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone from my team at Valley Ford of Columbus. 2025 is here, and as a real Valley Ford customer, I urge you to get online to see all the New Year's savings at valleyfordofcolumbus.com. Ford F-150, Bronco Sports, Mustang, Mach-E's. Valley has the massive selection to choose from, plus the lease and financing deals that have you rolling into 2025 with huge savings. Go to valleyfordofcolumbus.com today for all the details. That's valleyfordofcolumbus.com.
Keep on trucking with Valley Ford of Columbus.
This is the Fans Game Day Scoreboard.
Brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus.
Good afternoon. I'm Buddy Wells. The 2024-25 college football season got underway all the way back on August 24th. Now, nearly 5 months later, almost to the day, and the longest season we've ever had, it all comes down to tonight. At Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Notre Dame meets Ohio State with the national championship on the line. The Fighting Irish and Buckeyes will kick off shortly after 7:30. Here on The Fan, we got the Tailgate show from now until 6, and then our network coverage with Paul Keels and Jim Lachey will get started at 6. The NBA today, the Cavaliers are at home hosting the Phoenix Suns late in the first half up there in Cleveland. The Cavs lead that game 53-44. And in the NFL, the Chicago Bears are set to hire Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach. With Johnson to Chicago and Mike Vrabel to the Patriots, that leaves the Jaguars, Saints, Jets, Raiders, and Cowboys as teams without a head coach. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, your F-150 headquarters, and the official dealership of Buckeye wide receiver Carnell Tate.
Are you ready for another Buckeye victory? Because we sure are. You're listening to the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Kurgis & Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HEARD. That's 614-GOT-HEARD. And presented by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Tim May, the Big Cat, and Anthony Rothman. He's so money.
Sponsored by Kemba Financial Credit Union.
All right, we get into the breakdown a little bit. He's so money. Anthony Rothman, Andy Katzenmoyer, and Tim May. It feels to me, Andy, that Notre Dame on paper is not going to give Ohio State a ton to worry about from a outside weapons standpoint. They've got some dudes that can catch the football. Greathouse had a great game against Penn State, a game-breaking play. Mitch Evans is a very, very good tight end. But I think this game, when it comes down to defense, Ohio State should be worried about one thing and one thing only out of the gate, and that's Notre Dame's ability to run the ball. And whether Jeremiah Love is a guy who certainly can make yards after contact and all that, where do you see, from a defensive standpoint, Ohio State attacking Notre Dame? It feels like that Riley Leonard can make the equal amount of mistakes against a four-man rush as he can against a blitz. I've seen it. When Ohio State drops enough guys to cover, he can get picked off. When they blitz, he can also be pressured. But give me your take on an Ohio State defense that it feels like on paper only has like a one dimension in a way. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not taking away Notre Dame's ability to throw the football. They can do it, and they have done it. It's just not what they live by.
Right.
So if they're going to stay with their identity, give me your take on Ohio State's defense tonight against this Notre Dame offense that struggled to score 3 points in the first half against Penn State.
Well, I mean, Notre Dame definitely just wants to run the football. Like, that's their primary focus, whether it be with the running back or whether it be with quarterback. They are a run-first offense, and so Ohio State will have to address that. I think that's Ohio State's mantra anyways when it comes to defense, is just stop the run, period, and then, you know, have that team be one-dimensional. I don't think if Notre Dame cannot control the line of scrimmage, I'm not sure that they'll be able to force Ohio State to play on their heels in the secondary consistently. They may get a big play or two, but they're not as viable of a passing threat that Texas was, Tennessee was, or even Oregon.
Mm-hmm. I watched, like you did, the Notre Dame-Penn State game. They couldn't do anything in the first half against Penn State. They had 15 yards rushing against Penn State in the first half. 15 for a team that wants to run the football. And they gave up 141.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's funny, and I'll bring Tim May into the conversation. It feels like the way this has been, the narrative around this game, Tim, has been this Ohio State high-flying offense against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish defense. And I don't think it's that cut and dried. I think Ohio State is as complimentary as any team in the country. We've seen that. How do you see it? Because I watched Notre Dame, and I'll give them credit. They came out in the second half. They ran the football. They stayed true to their identity, and they didn't panic. But what do you expect tonight against Ohio State?
You know, it's funny. My buddy Tony Gerdeman and I were talking about that a week ago, and Notre Dame's probably been the best, at least in the playoffs, of just all of a sudden just creating points almost out of thin air. You know, whether it's a kickoff return or, you know, when Greathouse took that got that catch against Penn State a week and a half ago, when the Penn State defender just flat fell down. I mean, it just kind of came out of nowhere, right? And kept them in the game and pushed them ahead. You know, so it's just hard to pin down where Notre Dame has an advantage offensively in this matchup, except for maybe pulling a play out of their back pocket. And Mitchell Evans, their tight end, is definitely a threat. He will be able to probably convert some passes, get some position, convert some passes for first downs off and on. You know, the Riley Leonard is the greatest. He's just like that Haynes King kid at Georgia Tech. He's great at just, you look like you got him, but you don't got him, you know, when he runs. And he gets that extra 4, 6, 8 yards that keeps a drive alive, or, you know, at least gets a very key first down. So it's hard to pigeonhole them, because, you know, you can look at Ohio State's offense and see what's got to work, what can work, where they can actually gain an advantage on Notre Dame. If this works, then they got that. But like you just said a while ago, Notre Dame doesn't really value with their wideouts. Yet all of a sudden, one of them makes a play, you know, and this is classically one of those games that you think Notre Dame has got to be within a score going into the fourth quarter to have a shot, because you just don't see them scoring, 21 points in a quarter. With all that said, who knows what's coming, right? But that's the way you kind of look at it, and I don't think that's the wrong way. It's not knocking Notre Dame. It's what's guiding them here.
Yeah. I'll tell you how I look at it. I look at Notre Dame. If I was on Notre Dame's side tonight, I would say we've got to play them the way Penn State played them. We've got to play that exact recipe. Maybe not to Michigan's degree, because that was this whole different thing. But remember, they got the early pick six. They got the interceptions they needed. They got the turnover they needed from Ohio State early in that game. And they were able to run the ball to some degree. I think that would be Notre Dame's plan. The guy that I think is the X factor for them might be that Aeneas Williams. He's the freshman. He's not the starting running back. He does the wheel routes. He gets some carries. I think he's a burst for them. But, Andy, I come back to Notre Dame. They got a freshman at left tackle. And he tweaked his ankle in the game against Penn State. He had to leave. Abdul Carter got them on the right side with Emil Wagner, the other kid, by the way, an Ohio kid. It's funny, that Emil Wagner is Wayne High School in Yellow Springs, and the guy that Tim mentioned, Mitchell Evans, is a senior from Wadsworth. But I feel like that this Ohio State defense against a somewhat depleted Notre Dame offensive line is just a major advantage the way Ohio State's been playing, especially with the bookends. Absolutely.
And if you bring any kind of pressure, like with some speed, with our linebackers or secondary, you'll see. I can see the Leonard being under duress pretty quick. Do they have to spy him tonight, or just do what you're saying, mix in the pressure? I would say mix in pressure. I don't think you have to spy him. Notre Dame's quarterback, to me, isn't very dynamic. Like, he's not a Gabriel where he can run away from guys and make guys miss. He's more of a almost like Will Howard, but he's more willing to run sooner than Will Howard, just because of the weapons that Will has.
And he's uncanny. He's a little bit uncanny the way he does pick and choose to run. But here's the thing. I mean, this isn't slamming him. He's an average passer. So you want to make him have to beat you throwing the ball. Ohio State's done pretty well, especially in the postseason against the other teams. Star back, if that's what you want to call him, star running back. And Jeremiah Love, man, that 3-yard run he had for a touchdown against Penn State's one of the greatest runs I've ever seen, 3 or 30. And so they have the wherewithal to put together drives. And but Ohio State's defense, man, has been really good about, pardon the expression, bend but don't break, but occasionally just go in there and crack some heads. And in the postseason, and that's what really has set them apart. So the thing about Leonard Riley is, Riley Leonard, you don't want him to escape too many times and keep the drives alive. And that's hard to do, when at times, as you well know, Andy. I mean, you can take your eye off a guy one moment and he's gone.
Right.
But I think the guy that could have the big game tonight, and I've said this before this year during this season, is Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle. I see a nice matchup for him inside against those two guards at center. I think he and Ty Hamilton both could have a decisive game on the inside.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on Riley Leonard. He's dual threat. I'm not taking that away from him. This guy's the first Notre Dame player with 2,000 passing yards and over 800 rushing yards. He's the first. And so he's definitely dual threat. And he was their leading rusher against Georgia. So, the guy's got 35 career rushing touchdowns. They're going to give it to him near the goal line as well and pick a spot, kind of like what Josh Allen does with the Bills. But I think this narrative of, well, the only quarterback that can't make a mistake tonight is Will Howard is completely off base. Riley Leonard threw a pick on a very predictable third down over the middle where he airmailed his guy last week. He had great protection when Denai Dennis Sutton bailed into the coverage and picked him off. He's capable of making mistakes. It's not just this, like, Will Howard's the only one. It's been a weird narrative out there this week. I think Riley has to play almost a perfect game. We'll come back and we'll get the feel from our guy, Jim Lachey, next. He's So Money, sponsored by Kemba Financial Credit Union. And Jim will talk to us about the Ohio State run game and what has changed since that Michigan game. This is the Kurgis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show. Remember, they don't get paid unless you get paid, right here on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at columbussubaru.com or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
Right now, buy a new 2025 Subaru Outback for 2.9% for up to 72 months.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 72 months on 2025 Subaru Outback. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 1/31/25.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors. Contact us today for the best service in town. Bourne Brothers. Bourne Brothers, the real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
Football season is here, and so is tailgating season. Are you ready? If not, let Columbus Car Audio and Accessories help you get the latest and best accessories for your ride. Upgrade your sound system so everyone around can hear what team you're rooting for. Add mobile video and never miss a game on the road. Add style and privacy with window tint, and avoid scraping ice this winter by adding a remote starter. Choose Columbus Car Audio and Accessories when it comes to customizing your ride. Morse Road near Easton, Main Street in Reynoldsburg, or columbuscaraudio.com.
All right, tonight's the night. Championship game is here. I know the team you're rooting for. Hopefully, you'll be able to celebrate with the great deals from Germain Honda of Dublin. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0%. Experience the Honda Prologue, the all-new, all-electric SUV that redefines the road. How about a CR-V LX all-wheel drive, only $349 a month on a 36-month lease with only $19.99 due at signing. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
If you have an unhealthy obsession with the Blue Jackets, we have just the remedy. Join us Wednesday nights at 7 for the Inside Edge. All the jackets and hockey conversation you can handle. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter from my friends at Affinity Whole Health. Make 2025 your year and finally feel like yourself again. Don't just set goals, allow Affinity to help you support them. The people at Affinity Whole Health, they're experts in GLP-1s for weight loss therapy, testosterone replacement therapy, and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So you can rock 2025 with a sustainable weight loss plan and more energy, increased muscle, and better sleep. It's all great. Get started at feelgreatcolumbus.com and turn your resolution into reality. That's feelgreatcolumbus.com.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
It's Toyota truck and all-wheel drive season with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, including the best-selling Toyota Camry. It's all hybrid all the time with available all-wheel drive. Now through February 3rd, get 4.99 APR financing on Camry or lease a Camry LE from just $289 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing with approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Meet Abdullah Mahmood, problem gambling counselor at Maryhaven. More and more people are falling into problem gambling. It can happen so quickly that you don't realize it until you face a crisis. Gambling issues often connect to depression, anxiety, or other addictions. Maryhaven's experts offer comprehensive care. You and your loved ones can count on mental, emotional, and financial guidance. Confidential and judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Hello, I like football. I have nothing clever to say. This is the Curtis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis & Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. And presented by Logan Services, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Tim May, the Big Cat, and Anthony Rothman. It's time to check in with Buckeye color analyst and president of the Large Hand Society, Jim Lachey.
Sponsored by Schmitz. Why tailgate when you can Schmidt-gate?
All right, he's having a pretty good month. He might be able to pull off the daily double, our man Jim Lachey, with his former big-time pro team, pulling off the massive upset, Washington over Detroit. And then he's got his Buckeyes playing tonight for the national championship. Jim, good evening. Good to have you, my man.
Yeah, you're right. Life is good for a football fan, Jim Lachey. It's been a blast these last couple weeks. Actually, the last 4 weeks with Ohio State, taking care of Tennessee and doing their thing at Oregon at the Rose Bowl, and obviously 10 days ago against Texas in the Cotton Bowl. And, here we are sitting here, in the Atlanta getting ready to watch a national championship game. And then, got Saturday night, got a chance to sit around with family and friends and watch the Commanders take care of business against the Lions. So that was a blast. Now on to the Eagles, right?
That's right. Absolutely, man. You know all about that. Let me get a little football, inside football from you. And Ohio State's running game, what you've seen, this season was pretty balanced run scheme this season. And now post-Michigan, give me your take on what Chip Kelly, how he has switched it up during the playoff in the gap runs or zone, what you've seen switch from the Michigan game.
Yeah, I think we can all agree Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, with sharing the reps all year long, are as fresh as they've ever been. You saw in the second quarter when, Travion took that screen pass and, just outran everybody. Texas is a fast team into the end zone. And, that's just, again, it's unselfishness. You get two guys that are used to having all the carries. Obviously, Quinshon coming in from Ole Miss. He was the guy that, was a bell cow there. And now he gets a chance to come to Ohio State. He's got to split reps. And, for some guys that doesn't work. They want to be out there all the time. But trying to buy into the system that, hey, this is going to be a long year. We hope to play in 16, 17 games. So this is what it's all going to be out. So you can be fresh at the end of the year, and they are fresh. And, that's the number one thing. And then number two, you talked about it. They kind of changed up their schemes a little bit more of a, where they're running zone or read zone or off tackle. Now they're doing a little bit more of a gap scheme where they're, pulling linemen. You get double teams on the front side. You're pulling backside. And what's so good about that is the play action that it can create. And I think Chip Kelly and, the whole offensive staff, Justin Fry, Keenan Bailey, all those guys, Carlos Lachey have done a good job of coming up. And I think you also see that, Ryan Day has probably spent a little bit more time. He got that defense fixed after Oregon, and they've been playing lights out. Now it's, onto the offense and developing that run game. But, if you can get some guys, get some misdirection, have some plays, you've seen the holes that these guys can develop. And, that's been there for Ohio State all year long. Now, not as much against Texas. And, Notre Dame's a pretty good run defense, just giving up 133 yards per game. But to have that threat of the run certainly opens things up. And, I guess the big question is Jeremiah Smith. Is he going to be able to find a way to get involved this week?
Hey, Jim, Andy here. So Notre Dame being a primarily man-to-man cover one secondary, what kind of fronts do you expect Ohio State to see, and how do we expect to expose that man-to-man coverage?
They've been a four-down team that they will get into some bare front. And, Andy, you know what bare front, but for our listeners out there, that's basically when the center's covered up. It could be a nose guard or a linebacker. You got your two guards covered up with defensive tackles or defensive type guys. And then, basically have five guys there in that line of scrimmage, or the fifth guy lurking real close, and then you get a couple extra hats in the box there. So, when you do that, then, obviously you got man-on-man coverage outside, and, you got the guys that can beat it. And, when you see that bear type of front, and they'll mix in a little bit, they don't major in it, but, that's something you got to be aware of. And, especially if Ohio State does have success running that football game, two things you got to do. You got to move that pocket. You can't just stay up there. And then you got to max protect. You got to keep a tight end in. You got to keep a back kind of check, checking in release. And then your receivers have to be one-on-one coverage on the outside. And, we feel like our guys have that ability because if you look at them, they're all really a number one receiver. They would be if they played on different teams. It's just that they're all here on the same team. So, I thought you saw last week Jeremiah Smith step up and, took his role as a decoy, and it paid off. Carnell Tate stepped up. G. Scott was able to step up. Emeka, made some plays. And obviously Travion on the screenplay was able to get out there. But, they'll mix it up, but variations of it. From the conversations I've heard this week from Al Golden, their defensive coordinator, it's like they want to stay with him, man. Mike Mickens from our Cincinnati Bearcat. He's their defensive back coach, and that's kind of what they do. They like to do it, and they get guys that can get it done. Leonard Moore's a true freshman out there filling in for Benjamin Morrison, who got hurt this year. Got good size at 6'2", 191. Christian Gray on the other side, number 29. He's got good size at 6 foot. So they're taller defensive backs than maybe what they've normally seen. But again, you got to beat that one-on-one coverage, and then, quite honestly, we got to be careful with that football. This team has 19 interceptions. They're plus 17 in the turnover margin, so they've done a good job of getting takeaways and then not turning it over offensively. And I think that's key in any ball game. You go back to the Detroit game, the 5 turnovers really killed them. And you can't have those type of turnovers in a big game if you want to win. You got to end every drive with a kick.
Hey, you know why cliches are cliches? It's because they're real. And you're right, Jim. Turning the ball over would help Notre Dame stay in this thing. I want to ask you this. Luke Montgomery, in a nutshell, got his first start ever a week and a half ago in the Cotton Bowl because Austin Cerebell was a little banged up and stuff. But it's kind of been a joy to watch him step up, hadn't it, the last 4 games or last 3 games and become a factor.
Yeah, where some guys have 10, 12 games underneath their belt and a little bit beat up, he's not. He's fresh as a daisy. He's hungry, man. He wants to get out there and play some football, and I think you've seen that by him. He's got good technique. He's got, comes off, uses his hands well. He's got good strength and power. You've seen him exhibit that. And, it's just all the newness to him. And you can see him, he's like a little kid out there just playing football, just getting after people, but playing in a man's game. And, I think he brings some enthusiasm to that offensive line where, Austin Sareveld, he can step up and play, but he's been a little bit nicked up, and I think it's kind of helped Tegra out a little bit. But those guys inside are going to have to play their best game against, Rubio is one of the better defensive tackles. Now, we all know that, Mills in there, they got nicked up. He was probably their best D tackle, but these guys are quick. They're going to move it around. They're going to line stunts. They're going to, shift and do things like that to try to cause some confusion. That's where the kind of gap scheme pays off, because if they move over, boom, it just changes your aiming point, changes your double team, but you still have the same type of scheme lined up. So, with Cross and Rubio inside, they got the ability to make some plays against our guards and centers, but our center and guards, but they're going to really have to step up. And, obviously everybody here, when you get to this level, you get to the championship game, you're going to have to play your best game, and you're going to have to go out there and execute. And Luke Montgomery has been executing all year long, and that's been fun to watch.
Great stuff. Great breakdown by our man, Jim Lachey. Enjoy it, buddy. We will look forward to listening to you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Yep,
that is Jim Lachey on the Fan Tailgate Show, which is sponsored by Schmitz in German Village, real German food. When we come back, the stat that would set this team apart. The Kurgis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show right here on the Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
She, lying there longingly, hopeful. Perhaps this is the night he tries. You, before the bathroom mirror, bearish belly hanging over the worn elastic of your briefs. If only there were a way to help you muster the fire, the attention span. Alas, there is a place, nay, an oasis plentiful with wands and rings, potions and elixirs to restore your vitality, your passion. Lion's Den, the official oasis of pleasure, passion, and romance.
At KeyBank, we know a small moment like,
what's it like to have a yard?
Can lead to an even bigger question like,
am I ready to buy a home?
And that's the type of moment where we'll meet you, prepared to talk about everything you need to know when applying for a mortgage, so you can try to turn those backyard dreams into reality. Paul?
Yes?
Question. Are you a hammock person?
I think I might be.
For every financial need, we'll meet you in the moment. KeyBank opens doors. NMLS 399797, Equal Housing Lender.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Kurgis and Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Kurgis and Associates. Attorneys who care.
Every hockey player dreams of a hat trick.
And if you've ever seen one, you know it's a thrill when the hats hit the ice.
And now, it's hats off to Honda Marysville, because this season, every time a Blue Jacket scores a hat trick at Nationwide Arena,
Honda Marysville will give one lucky fan a 2-year lease on a new Honda Civic Sport on the spot.
So come to a game and cheer us on. Who knows?
A new car from Honda Marysville might be closer than you think.
Official rules at HondaMarysville.com/hat trick.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Why tailgate when you can Schmidtgate? Schmitz can cater your championship party and take the hassle off your hands. We're talking our world-famous Bahama Mamas, German potato salad, bratwurst, and those irresistible cream puffs. We'll even deliver and set it up for you. Or come visit our carryout at the restaurant and grab some to cook up at home. Either way, the favorite pregame meal is with Schmitz. Order your Schmidtgate pregame meal at schmidthaus.com. That's schmidthaus.com. Schmitz, real German food.
Hi, this is Bob Capacci from Worthington Jewelers. We realize that big box jewelry stores aren't for everyone.
Some people prefer friendly, locally run stores. No pressure and non-commissioned salespeople who work with you to create a great buying experience. At Worthington Jewelers, we work with you as an individual, not a number or just a sale. And if it means customizing your ring or taking jewelry in on trade, no one does it better than Worthington Jewelers.
Worthington Jewelers.
It's Toyota truck and all-wheel drive season with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, including the best-selling RAV4. Now through February 3rd, get 4.99 APR financing on new gas-powered 24 or 25 RAV4s. Or lease a gas-powered 25 RAV4 LE for $339 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. This is the Fans Game Day Scoreboard.
Brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus.
Good afternoon. I'm Buddy Wiles. It's the final game day of the 2024-25 college football season as tonight Notre Dame and Ohio State meet in Atlanta with the national championship on the line. The Fighting Irish and Buckeyes will kick off shortly after 7:30 tonight. Here on The Fan, we have the Tailgate Show for another hour until 6. And then at 6 o'clock, our network coverage with Paul Keels and Jim Lachey will get underway. NBA today, the Cavaliers are at home as they host the Phoenix Suns. Early in the second half, the Cavaliers are up big in that game as they lead at 72-51. And in the NFL, the Bears are hiring Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach. With Johnson heading to Chicago and Mike Vrabel heading to New England, that leaves the Jaguars, Jets, Saints, Raiders, and Cowboys. This team's still looking for a new head coach. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus. The best Broncos sports selection is at the official dealership of Carnell Tate. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
You're listening to the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HEARD. That's 614-GOT-HEARD. And presented by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Anthony Rothman.
All right, it's been a wild ride. We've gone from shock to stardom now, Andy, with this team. The shock of losing to Michigan and then being able to light that fuse and send them all the way to the title game. They've got 4 wins over AP Top 5 this year. Tonight would make them the first program with 5 Top 5 wins in a single year. There have been other teams that have done that, but, you know, the 19 LSU team. But then you got to go way back to the late 60s with USC, and then obviously Notre Dame, not obviously, but Notre Dame, ironically, the team they're playing tonight back in the 40s. It doesn't feel like that to me. It doesn't, but the murderer's row that they have faced, there's a lot of parity in college football this year, but Ohio State was always right there. And now they're there again tonight with a chance to put a capper on this season. The great news for, I think, Buckeye fans is that no one's talking about the Michigan game right now. No one has. It's so ancient history. I always tab this as be the last team standing. That's what the shirt should say in a brand new expanded playoff to 12. You know, I just want to get you've kind of been there. This is eerie to me because I think if one of your teams would have been in a 12-team playoff, you'd probably be sitting here with a national title right now. I think when you get really talented teams that get a second bite at it.
Right.
In your era, you make one mistake and you're on the outside looking in. Not anymore. Ohio State probably doesn't get in with 2 losses, although this year they may have. This year maybe the committee would have taken them over Penn State because they beat them head-to-head on the road. I don't know. Maybe the unranked Michigan loss at home could have dragged them down in that committee room, but we don't have to really think about it. But I was wondering if that kind of went through your mind of this era, like where you would put this team if they win tonight, because they will have 2 losses. They will have lost to Michigan. But this run in the playoffs seems to be so epic and historic. I'm wondering how you've balanced where this team would be in history. When I throw that stat out there, they'd be one of very few teams to beat 5 top 5s in a single year.
Well, the talk about Ohio State from even going back, longer than a year from now, I was thinking about this. There's been so much pressure after the Cotton Bowl and how they kind of kind of threw that game away as far as trying to be competitive. But there was an all-in effort, not only by the players that came back, but by the coaches, and then a lot of supporters really opened up their checkbooks to say, "Hey, we're gonna get the best team possible." And Ohio State has had a target on their back the entire season. They go play Oregon. They end up losing a very, very tight game in a very hostile environment. Redeem that victory. They played the rival of Michigan. Did not play very well. Very, very uncharacteristic as far as how they've played all year. Lo and behold, Michigan then goes on and plays Alabama in their bowl game and handles Alabama. So they finished the year off strong. But just the way Ohio State's been this whole year about, they want to win the Big Ten. They can control that. They want to beat Michigan, and then they won the national championship. And to their credit, they didn't win the Big Ten, so they didn't do that. They did not beat Michigan, but they still have a chance to win that national championship. And I think that's probably a harder thing to do, considering they've had to, play a very, very talented Tennessee team, go play Oregon again, who's already beat them in the Rose Bowl, and then to go and shortly remove, a very close home field advantage that Texas had and still come out and beat them. To me, if Ohio State completes the task and beats Notre Dame, there is no doubt that they were the best team this year.
To me, this is a very unique team. I would put that word on it with what Andy talked about with acquiring talent in a portal era. Not that they're flooded with portal guys, but some very key guys. You've covered this team for decades. Where in your mind do you think you will place them amongst great Ohio State teams if they seal the deal tonight?
They'll have their own bench because no team in history has ever won.
Hang on, Timmy. We'll get back to you. You jumped in the deep end of the pool there for a second. I think there'll always be. I shouldn't say there always will be. I think there are some people that will have an asterisk on it. Because if you win it without beating Michigan, because you and I come from an era that was never possible. You'd have to beat them to win a title.
I mean, like Dave Portnoy has already said that, whoever wins this championship is diluted, because the only way to be a true national champion is if you do what Michigan did last year, which that's ridiculous, because the whole point of this 12-team playoff is you can have a mistake. You can have a mess up. You can not play your best game, just like the NFL. Like you can have losses and still come out and be the best team in the NFL or now in college football or Division II or Division III. Like it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to run the whole season and play perfect, because that's almost, it's very, very hard to do.
I think that you and I play a lot of golf. This is how I've equated it. You don't have to have your career best round the same day you get your first hole in one.
Right.
It'd be nice if you did, but you don't have to.
And usually
when you make a hole in one,
you're having a terrible round.
Well, I've only had one now, but I actually was having a great round.
Oh,
perhaps my best, until I didn't. Oh. But I had to fall back on, does it really matter? If Ohio State is the last team standing in an expanded playoff,
right,
in an NFL-type gauntlet coming from the 5 through 12 pool and all of that, then certainly they'll feel like that they, on top of the mountain, kicked everybody off of it. Yes, they had their couple hiccups. They righted the one wrong against Oregon. Like, that gets erased because you got vengeance against them in a bigger game. But here they are tonight playing for it all. It's got just a very, very interesting feel. But I keep coming back to those three words that I've been saying for a month: last team standing. That's all that matters. Give me your take again on, real fast, on their quarterback in the run game is big. It's been a staple of theirs. The Irish called 9 design runs for Riley Leonard against Georgia, 12 against Penn State. But you're not into the just spy him, like have somebody assigned to making sure.
No, because a spy is more of a reference about someone who drops back and pass, and then if something's not open, then they will run the ball. Ohio State all season has been susceptible to, having a wide pass rush to try to get to the quarterback, and then the quarterback just running right up the middle. They've shored that up in the playoffs, or even against Michigan, and before that in Iowa, or not Iowa, but Indiana. They've gotten better and better and better as far as having a more calculated pass rush, make sure they're in their proper lanes on blitzes, and not just going no holds barred as far as being able to kind of go wherever. So they've gotten better with that. The unique thing about what Notre Dame does is they use that quarterback for actual design runs, which not many teams have done that, and especially in the red zone. They want to pound it in there and have that quarterback just try to get 4, 5, 6 yards and just lean on you.
We go back to the championship in the 2014 season. No one's talking about that they lost to Virginia Tech. They're talking about how they beat Bama, and they beat Oregon, and they won it all.
Right. I'll make the argument that people will talk about the loss to Michigan.
Yes, you live in Columbus, Ohio.
Because it's Michigan, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That will be there.
Right.
Your kickoff forecast, sponsored by Byers Auto. Come see why it's better to buy from Byers. 25 degrees outside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Inside, it will be perfect, and that's where the game will be played. Smart money, and the man who will be buying, hopefully, the pizza and many drinks tonight is our man, Scotty Vegas. He'll join us with the handicap next on the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show right here on The Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone from my team at Valley Ford of Columbus. 2025 is here, and as a real Valley Ford customer, I urge you to get online to see all the New Year's savings at valleyfordofcolumbus.com. Ford F-150, Bronco Sports, Mustang, Mach-E's. Valley has the massive selection to choose from, plus the lease and financing deals that have you rolling into 2025 with huge savings. Go to valleyfordofcolumbus.com today for all the details. That's valleyfordofcolumbus.com.
Keep on trucking with Valley Ford of Columbus.
Football season is here, and so is tailgating season. Are you ready? If not, let Columbus Car Audio and Accessories help you get the latest and best accessories for your ride. Upgrade your sound system so everyone around can hear what team you're rooting for. Add mobile video and never miss a game on the road. Add style and privacy with window tint, and avoid scraping ice this winter by adding a remote starter. Choose Columbus Car Audio and Accessories when it comes to customizing your ride. Morse Road near Easton, Main Street in Reynoldsburg, or columbuscaraudio.com.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors.
Contact us today for the best service in town.
Bourne Brothers.
Bourne Brothers.
The real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Have you been to Mershon Auditorium lately? Check out these upcoming shows. Don't miss an evening with travel writer Rick Steves, February 20th. Grab tickets for Alton Brown's Culinary Variety Show, April 22nd. Laugh it up with comedian John Crist, February 8th. Nurse John, March 20th. Matt Matthews, March 27th. Sal Volcano, March 29th. Jim Jeffries, April 26th. And Sarah Milliken, June 8th. Tickets are on sale now via Ticketmaster.com. Enjoy an intimate evening out. There's so much happening at Mershon Auditorium.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, getting ahead in this world is not as complicated as it might seem. Having the early guidance and counsel of your community banker, one who knows you and your family's story, can make a great deal of difference. Relationships matter. Bank on community banking. I'm Scott McComb, CEO, coming over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. For over 3 decades, Cordell & Cordell has been on the front lines of family law. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Columbus area attorneys. 10 West Broad Street, Suite 1550, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. CordellCordell.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Well, if you don't like the cold, you won't be liking the next few days. Today, we're looking at a high of 12 degrees. 4 is the nighttime low tonight. Wind chills tomorrow between 0 and -10. The high temperature on Tuesday will be 13. There is a slight chance of a snow shower tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
It's game day on The Fan.
Sponsored by Reichert Chevy.
Have fun. Keep your pads on. Go Bucks. Always and forever your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Are you ready for another Buckeye victory? Because we sure are. You're listening to the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Kurgis & Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HEARD. That's 614-GOT-HEARD. And presented by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Tim May, the Big Cat, and Anthony Rothman.
All right, I'll be buzzing out of here. Probably hitting an ATM on the way.
Oh, yeah.
And going to Hollywood Casino Columbus with my man, Scotty Vegas. Good to see you, brother.
Oh, here we go, guys.
All right, so the over-under is not going anywhere, but the spread is.
Yep.
So give me your read on that. This was 8 all week long. I think originally it may have opened at 9 or 9.5. Then it came quickly down, but it was always at 8. Yep. It was always over the key number. It was never at 7. And so now it's up to 9. So the money's coming in on Ohio State. Several books are kind of begging you now to take Notre Dame. But the over-under is not going anywhere. It's still 45.5.
Yeah, so here's how this spread has kind of moved. So initially, when the game was announced and put on the board, it was 9.5, right? And some of the big money bettors came in, some of the sharp bettors bet it down pretty quickly to 8. And it stayed, as you mentioned, it stayed at 8 for about a week. And then kind of this morning, it went back up to 8.5. And now within the last hour or so, it's back up to 9. So that's kind of been the movement. And one thing to note about that movement is it really didn't cross any key numbers. So 9.5 down to 8. Now back up to 9. It still isn't crossing the 7 or the 10 or anything like that. So it's not a key number that it's moving. But I will tell you that the percentage of bets at just about every single major sports book is the higher percentage is coming in on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people say about 60% of the betting splits is on Ohio State, and that's both money and number of tickets.
Yeah, big liability for a lot of these books if Ohio State covers the spread, which is kind of the trend. And I know what Notre Dame can do. So does Andy. They can try to keep the ball, play a little keep away, a little play action, run the quarterback, play good defense, not give up any explosive plays, and maybe keep it within an arm's reach. But everything is trending towards how does Jeremiah Smith have 2 bad games in a row? Not for him. Texas took him away, but Notre Dame says that we're not going to be that. Just take him away and let everybody else beat us.
Well, I mean, going into this game, okay, my fear, I've a couple fears as a guy with an Ohio State futures ticket, and I've been wrestling with this basically for the last 10 days. Do I hedge? Do I now take Notre Dame plus the points and potentially win both ways, right? Win the future bet and hope Ohio State wins a closer game and win both ways. But I can't do it. I cannot see.
I'll tell you why you can't.
Yeah,
you know why. Because you know that Ohio State is probably going to be leading this game.
Yeah.
And if they're leading, that means Notre Dame's going to be getting even more points than they are a kick.
Yeah. And honestly, my fears with this game, guys, is that something weird or stupid happens. Because the history with Ohio State, we saw in that game against Georgia, right? You have the targeting call that gets taken away against Marvin Harrison. And that was something weird and stupid. Otherwise, Ohio State wins that game and probably wins that national championship. And then you and I, Anthony, a few years ago, we're sitting there at the Fiesta Bowl when it looked like Ohio State was going to get a defensive score, and basically the review took it away, took the turnover away, and Clemson went on to win that game. And that was a silly, bad call that went against Ohio State and potentially lost Ohio State a chance to win or at least compete in that national championship against LSU. So I'm fearful a little bit from those scars, right? And, is there a weird penalty that happens? But to me, Andy, the only way that Notre Dame has a legit shot to win this game outright, in my mind, is if there's turnovers or penalties that really kill Ohio State. Would you agree with that?
No, I could not agree more. That's probably in the Notre Dame playbook. Just somehow,
right?
Obviously they want to create turnovers, but just if Ohio State plays a sloppy game, all the way around, and just kind of allow Notre Dame to hang around, that's their chance to kind of steal this one, in my opinion.
Freshman left tackle, freshman corner filling in for their best guy that's been out. They lost Riley Mills. They lost him in the IU game. That's a captain defensive lineman. He led the team in sacks. He's played 62 career games. He's not in it. Like, from a tail of the tape standpoint, this is got very much David Goliath feel.
And I could be the biggest idiot here because having this humongous opportunity where I have Ohio State's future and you have a big window. You and I talk about this all the time. You and I debate back and forth. Well, you have the opportunity to win both ways here, but I still have confidence that I think Ohio State wins this game by double digits. I really do.
Well, here's the deal, and we talked about it. The beauty of having a future on the favorite is you get to hedge on the underdog.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. And so you'd have to convince me that you feel like Notre Dame's going to keep this thing within 3 points the entire way, and that's the only way this could backfire. It could backfire certainly if Ohio State loses the game for you, but I don't think you're worried about Ohio State trailing by a significant amount tonight.
Well, and the funny thing is, guys, favorites have been coming through in championship games, winning them straight up and covering. But also look across the sports landscape over the last year. The favorites are the ones that are winning these championships, right? The Celtics were the NBA favorite preseason. The Dodgers were Major League Baseball preseason favorite. You had UConn men's basketball favorite going into March Madness, huge favorite. South Carolina women's basketball, huge favorite going in. The Chiefs last year winning the Super Bowl. So you're seeing these big teams come through, and Ohio State at the beginning of this season, plus 350, right around the same odds as Georgia. And actually, as a sports bettor, it makes me think that maybe the play more so than trying to bet individual games is to do more of these futures bets.
Well, here was your hedge that you missed out on that you never would have done. Not that you'll have to. The odds on Notre Dame winning the national title after they lost to Northern Illinois.
Yes.
Dropped them to 100-1. Ohio State, when they lost to Michigan, went to 4.5-1.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second. I know the Northern Illinois game was way early in the season, but think about what Vegas felt about Ohio State after they lost to Michigan. Okay, 4.5-1. Still very viable to win the title.
Right.
Notre Dame, they said you should just leave this year.
Right.
Give up.
You're done.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is we knew after that Ohio State-Michigan game, we knew that Ohio State was still going to be a part of the 12-team playoff.
That's right.
After Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois that early, nobody thinks that team's even going to make the playoffs, so you wouldn't have any shot. Now, it's funny, we talk about long shots, and you talked about Notre Dame being 100-1. Guys, I was sitting there watching that Lions-Commanders game. And obviously everybody knows that the Commanders were an enormous underdog. They were a 9.5-point underdog against the Lions. And you get out on the football field and things change, and the Commanders dominated that game. And so that goes through your mind as a team that you're following that's a huge favorite in a big game, and you're watching that team pull off the upset. By the way, Commanders were 150-1 at the start of the year to win the Super Bowl.
And again, here's the difference. That's a pro team that has an offense that you can't keep them down forever.
There's no Jaden Daniels on Notre Dame.
I just keep coming back to what's the biggest lead Notre Dame could get tonight in your mind? The biggest lead at any point in time.
Oof. I mean, they could come out and get an early touchdown and get up 7-0. Maybe 10.
Maybe. Right. They're not running away.
I could see maybe like a 14-point lead somehow.
Wow.
I'm saying if they got the ball on kickoff, they go down the field, score, and Ohio State throws a pick six, they could be up 14-0.
I said earlier, the only dream scenario for them is a start like Penn State had against Ohio State. Right. Let's bring in Tim May real fast from Atlanta. Timmy, go ahead, caller. You got a question for Scotty Vegas?
I'm in a custodian's office right now. It's great.
A water closet.
I'm right here next to the sink. But Scotty, real quick though, how much money's on the line, that 100-1 situation with Notre Dame? Is there any stat out there that shows that after the loss to Northern Illinois? Is there somebody holding a big? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. That's a really good question. I don't know the official liability of how many people out there actually took Notre Dame at 100-1. And speaking of futures bets, if you remember correctly, about a year ago, right after the national championship game last year, Ohio State was making the announcement of, Quinshon Judkins is transferring in, Caleb Downs is coming in. Ohio State was plus 650 at that point. So when they first posted the national championship odds, right after the title game last year, Ohio State was plus 650. That didn't last very long, right? Once all these all the transfer news came in, it got down to about 4-1, stayed at 4-1 most offseason, and then right before the season started, went down to plus 350. So that was kind of the history as far as Ohio State's odds. It was never higher than plus 650 to win it all. Now, I think there will be a lot of people that after tonight's game will start looking at the 2026 odds, right? Yeah. So once this game ends tonight, you're going to immediately start seeing national championship odds. And guys, Ohio State will be favored to win it all again next year.
One quickie.
Go ahead.
The last two times Ohio State has won the national championship, it was an underdog. Does that make your heart beat a little different?
Of course. Yeah, I'm terrified. Tim, I'm terrified because, you're right. Looking at the history, right? Ohio State was a touchdown favorite over Florida and lost that game. And what were they, a 13-point underdog, I believe, playing Miami when they won the championship that year?
I think it started at 14, maybe it ended at 12.5.
They were a 6-point underdog when they beat Oregon in that national championship game. And I don't remember what the LSU Ohio State line was. But it's
the last
wild.
Two times they won it from the underdog role.
Right.
With a big point, So that's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, before the season, we did our little poll of what percentage you'd give Ohio State a chance to win the national title.
Yeah.
I said 50%. People look like I had three heads.
I did look at you like you had three heads.
Like normal, right? But I asked basic questions. Do you think they'll make the playoff? Well, yeah. Do you think they'll be an underdog in any game they play? Probably not. Or if they are, it'll be less than 3. Well, then why wouldn't you give them a coin flip's chance to win it all? You know what Vegas says they are tonight? 81%.
Yeah.
81.
Wow.
Well, you know what? I went back and forth with you on that question because I'm like, okay, you still have to win 3 or 4 playoff games to do it. And you would think that those playoff games are going to be close to 50-50. Look, You're right. They're playing in a title game, and you're saying about an 80% chance. Would you guys, actually, now that we're getting into percentages, I just want to ask you guys, what is your percentage chance Ohio State wins tonight? I would put mine at about 85%.
That's right. I'm probably right there with you.
I'm like 90.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm too confident. I'm getting nervous now.
Tyvus is 99.9, so we took his temperature earlier today. All right, my man. I'll see you at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Let's do it.
Getting lathered up
Hit
over
up
there.
that ATM.
All right, we're going to come back. Keys to the Game are next. Game day coverage sponsored by Reichert Chevrolet on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
They're trained. They're fired up. Let's do it. When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Kurgis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Kurgis & Associates. Attorneys who care.
We're dealing at Reichert Ford. That means we got the car you need at the price you want. But don't take it from me. Hear it from
Ohio State captain Travion Henderson.
Reichert has what I'm looking for.
Defensive star Jack Sawyer.
Grew up watching these guys on TV. My family's bought tons of cars for them.
Cody Simon.
You get the right car at Reichert. With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Thousands of vehicles are waiting at ReichertFord.com.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Disney's Descendant Zombies Worlds Collide Tour, live in concert. This summer, August 12th, Schottenstein Center. A one-of-a-kind live concert experience starring Kylie Cantrell, Freya Sky, Malia Baker, Malachi Barton, Dara Renee, Joshua Colley, and Makana Knife. Live on stage, singing all the hits from the movies. Tickets on sale now at DescendantZombiesLive.com.
Rise and shine, jabronis.
Quite a show this morning.
There's only one place where Buckeye legends lay the smackdown. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekday mornings starting at 6.
Give me a juice box, yeah.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Combat falling interest rates now. Lock in a 5-month certificate from Kemba Financial Credit Union and earn up to 4.35% annual percentage yield compared to the 6-month national average of just 1.75% APY. Visit Kemba.org for details. Hurry! This exceptional rate offer expires February 28, 2025. Average CD rate reported by Bankrate.com. Restrictions apply. $500 minimum deposit required to open and earn stated APY and $250,000 maximum deposit. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's Toyota truck and all-wheel drive season with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like the family-size Highlander and the bigger, more powerful Grand Highlander. Now through February 3rd, get any new Highlander or Grand Highlander with 6.49 APR financing up to 72 months, including hybrid models with $1,681 per thousand borrowed, subject to approved credit through TFS. Plus, you get 2 years no-cost maintenance. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
She, lying there longingly, hopeful. Perhaps this is the night he tries. You, before the bathroom mirror, bearish belly hanging over the worn elastic of your briefs. If only there were a way to help you muster the fire, the attention span. Alas, there is a place, nay, an oasis plentiful with wands and rings, potions and elixirs to restore your vitality, your passion. Lion's Den, the official oasis of pleasure, passion, and romance.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
This is the Fans Game Day Scoreboard.
Brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus.
Good afternoon. I'm Buddy Wiles. It's the final game day of the 2024-25 college football season as tonight Notre Dame and Ohio State meet in Atlanta with the national championship on the line. The Fighting Irish and Buckeyes will kick off shortly after 7:30 tonight. Coming up at the top of the hour right here on the Fan, our network coverage will get underway with Paul Keels, Jim Lachey, Matt Andrews, and Skip Mossick. NBA today, the Cavaliers are at home as they host the Phoenix Suns. About halfway through the fourth quarter, the Cavs are rolling in this game. They're up up 27. It's 97-70. And in hockey tonight, the Blue Jackets play the second of their 4-game road trip. The Jackets will face the Islanders in New York tonight. Face-off is at 7:30. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, your F-150 headquarters, and the official dealership of Buckeye wide receiver Carnell Tate. Breaking sports news when it happens right here on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hello, I like football. I have nothing clever to say. This is the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. And presented by Logan Services, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Tim May, the Big Cat, and Anthony Rothman. Today's keys to the game are sponsored by Toyota.
Brought to you by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. Visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
All right, about 2 hours and 10 minutes till kickoff. Down at Atlanta, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. Preseason, Ohio State was number 2, Notre Dame was 7. Final rankings, Notre Dame was 5, Ohio State was 6. Bracket seeding, Notre Dame was 7, Ohio State was 8. Forget about all those numbers I just told you, Andy. This is one game to be called the last team standing in the very first expanded 12-team playoff. I think most people believe that Ohio State has the better team. Whether they're the better team over 60 minutes, that's why we're going to watch. I do think a key to this game goes back on the offensive line. They've been great. I just don't want to forget about them tonight. Tonight is the game. I've noticed that Notre Dame wants to bring pressure against a quarterback early and often. They feel confident they can leave their guys on an island. It's a gamble. We'll see if Al Golden does it. You know how they got burned early against Penn State? They got aggressive, little screen, little pop screen, and away Penn State went, and it kind of killed them early in that game. Will they blitz Will Howard? They're one of the biggest blitzing defenses in the country. How much do you sense that they will play aggressive against Ohio State and indeed leave their guys on an island early?
I can't imagine they would want to change up their formula now. Especially, it doesn't mean they won't bring pressure and maybe play zone, but I think they're going to try to mix up between man and zone, bring pressure or no pressure, as much as they possibly can to try to confuse Will Howard. And if it's maybe just a second or a half a second where Will Howard has to think about and work through progressions, then that could be the time that Notre Dame needs in order to get to, impact the play, whether it's by a sack, whether it's by hurrying a throw, whether it's by having Will Howard leave the pocket under duress.
Texas, Tim May, had a pretty good plan against Ohio State in the second half, really all game. They bracketed Jeremiah Smith, and they started to get their swag on in the second half a little bit from a pressure standpoint, and they did get to Will. Does Notre Dame try to pull the Texas two-step here, or do they stay true to their identity and just play man most of the game?
Yeah, I called what Texas did. I called it the lean-to defense, where you've got a guy on Jeremiah Smith and two guys leaning that direction. And here's the thing: if you're going to play man a lot, you better figure out a way to get pressure on the quarterback, because these receivers, a lot of receivers, will eat you up. And this group of receivers, especially, there'll be somebody get open against man defense basically on every play. But will you have the moment there to stand there and find him, if in fact that's what it gets to? Al Golden is insistent they're going to do what they've been doing. And, of course, all that's free talk until the game starts, right? And like Andy said, you don't want to go into a game and feel like you're playing left-handed from what you usually do, because that's a recipe for disaster for you defensively. But I would expect them to try to bring pressure, because that's what they've done. And there are two things they've done really well is bring pressure for the most part and create turnovers. And one follows the other a lot of times. It'll be up to Will to get away from it, to maybe Chip Kelly to get him away from it with some rollouts and stuff like they did against Oregon, or like they've done pretty much all these whole playoffs. And and get Jeremiah Smith. Even if they show they're going to try to take Jeremiah Smith away, you can throw stuff short, underneath, get him on the run underneath in the drag route, drag routes over the middle, all these kind of things. Like that first play they ran with him in the Rose Bowl, the third play of the game was a play you had never seen before, where he literally came behind the formation, took that little flip, and took it to the house. I mean, there are things you can do with Jeremiah Smith, even if they're playing lean-to on him. So I would expect Ohio State to be about as creative as it can be to make sure he's in the game. I mean, my big bold prediction, if that's what you want to call it, at LettermanRow.com today, is that I see 4 Ohio State receivers with 4 catches or more, and that includes Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, I don't see any world where he's a non-factor tonight. They'll find other ways to get him the football, whether it's underneath the line they'll find some way to get him the football. The 1 catch, 3 yards, that's not happening again. I also feel like fundamentally this is a very physical game for Ohio State. They know that, Andy. I feel like that Jeremiah Love, 6 feet, 210-pound running back. He's been dealing with a knee issue since the final game of the regular season against USC, but I think laterally could be an issue. He's had the sprain there. I think you got to. Maybe you can talk about this. I know making him go side to side is a lot easier said than done, but making him cut. I know once he gets north and south, he should have no problem. He had the 98-yarder against Indiana, but I think laterally could be an issue. You've got a running back with a knee that is maybe not 100%. I know he's talking about it the way it is, but I think he's the guy you got to get to the ground. He's very good after contact. I think that's my point. They're going to have to rally against him. He's physical.
Right. No, this is definitely, yes, a back like that, you have to really have 11 guys flying to the ball, making sure that you secure a tackle. I saw him, was it last week? He jumped over a guy. I'm like, so he's a giant knee brace on. I mean, he's still a specimen as far as an athlete. Laterally, maybe not great, but he can still burn you if we leave some gaps open and our safeties aren't there to fill.
Yeah, and the other running back that I mentioned for them, though, I like Aeneas Williams, a freshman, and he's made an impact for them. So they're going to throw everything they can at Ohio State tonight. Obviously, they're not leaving anything there. Gadget plays. I'll be very curious whether Marcus takes chances tonight, real chances tonight, because maybe he feels he has to. We shall see. Keys to the Game are sponsored by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. Visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. We'll come back, do a final check-in with the man on the mic, Paul Keels. This is the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show. Remember, they don't get paid unless you get paid right here on The Fan.
Join Bobby Mack and Jody Shelley for the Inside Edge, a behind-the-scenes look at all things Blue Jackets.
Wednesday night at 7.
Your home for Jackets hockey, The Fan.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors. Contact us today for the best service in town. Bourne Brothers.
Bourne Brothers.
The real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone from my team at Valley Ford of Columbus. 2025 is here, and as a real Valley Ford customer, I urge you to get online to see all the New Year savings at valleyfordofcolumbus.com. Ford F-150, Bronco Sports, Mustang, Mach-E's. Valley has the massive selection to choose from, plus the lease and financing deals that have you rolling into 2025 with huge savings. Go to valleyfordofcolumbus.com today for all the details. That's valleyfordofcolumbus.com.
Keep on trucking with Valley Ford of Columbus.
Come on over to Heartland and
Join our family.
Now, getting ahead in this world is not as complicated as it might seem. Having the early guidance and counsel of your community banker, one who knows you and your family's story, can make a great deal of difference. Relationships matter. Bank on community banking. I'm Scott McComb, CEO, coming over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Buckeye Show.
When you have a guy that's as good as Jeremiah Smith is, we're just trying to come up with a sane place for our superlatives.
The Buckeye Show.
Presented by Coors Light and sponsored by Care Source.
Weeknights at 6 on The Fan.
All right, tonight's the night. Championship game is here. I know the team you're rooting for. Hopefully you'll be able to celebrate with the great deals from Germain Honda of Dublin. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0%. Experience the Honda Prologue, the all-new, all-electric SUV that redefines the road. How about a CR-V LX all-wheel drive, only $349 a month on a 36-month lease with only $19.99 due at signing. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Hi, this is Bob Capacci from Worthington Jewelers. We realize that big box jewelry stores aren't for everyone. Some people prefer friendly, locally run stores. No pressure and non-commissioned salespeople who work with you to create a great buying experience. At Worthington Jewelers, we work with you as an individual, not a number or just a sale. And if it means customizing your ring or taking jewelry in on trade, no one does it better than Worthington Jewelers.
Worthington Jewelers.
At Byers Volkswagen, we believe in giving you options. From browsing to buying, shop entirely online at columbusvw.com. Or if you prefer a personal touch, visit us by the airport and work with our friendly brand specialists. Right now, get a 2024 Volkswagen Tiguan for 0% for 60 months. Online or in person, your exceptional car buying experience awaits at Byers Volkswagen. Visit columbusvw.com or stop by today. Come see why it's better to buy from Byers. Offer good on new 2024 Tiguan models. Offered to highly qualified customers who finance through Volkswagen Credit for up to 60 months. See dealer for details. Offer ends 3/3/2025.
You want to know what the VIP stands for in the Ohio Lottery's new VIP Millions game? Very impressive payouts, because this $50 scratch-off has 51 $1 million winners. Plus, with 5 bonus boxes and a chance to multiply your winnings by up to an astonishing 500 times, this game truly lives up to its VIP status. VIP Millions, your best chance ever to win $1 million in Ohio Lottery history. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
You're listening to the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HEARD. That's 614-GOT-HEARD. And presented by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's Anthony Rothman.
All right, we're getting you there. Glad you're with us. And the man on the mic tonight, the one and only Paul Keels, our final check-in, is sponsored by Byers Imports. Byers Imports, Hamilton Road by the airport. Paul, what do you have coming up?
Well, Anthony, as always, we will hear from both head coaches, Ohio State's Ryan Day and Notre Dame's Marcus Freeman. Matt Andrews will talk with Ohio State tackle Josh Fryer about what the playoff run has been like. We will hear from Michael Doss, All-American safety on the 2002 National Championship team, about what it's like to win a national championship. Tony Simeone, in his first year as the play-by-play voice of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, will give us his outlook on Notre Dame's team. Defensive coordinator Jim Knowles will talk about what has made Ohio State's defense so good here in the postseason. And as always, we will have our award-winning, world-famous 12-team format Shrimp and Grits, College Football Hall of Fame, Scarlet and Gray, Kid Lester in the Caribou's version of Buckeye Flashback with Hall of Famer Skip Mossick. That's coming up shortly.
Can't wait. Thanks, Paul. Have a great
You're
call.
welcome.
Yeah.
All right.
There he is, Paul Keels from Atlanta, as we get you ready for Buckeye football on the Fan for championship night. I come back to what I said to you earlier in the evening, and that's that the Buckeyes are playing like the best team in the country. That's not to discount Notre Dame. They got here, and they were able to play to their identity, come up with big turnovers. This is who they are. Marcus rallied this team early. He had to, as Ryan Day rallied them late. So I just think they have a little bit of mirror image and identity, that they do believe that what they have, they can lean into. But I do come back to that. It feels like Notre Dame would have to adjust and change a little more than Ohio State, especially if they get down. Now, if they don't get down and they hang in the game, they're going to continue guys to do what they do and try to run the ball and try to pick their spots with Riley Leonard and throw to Mitch Evans, the big tight end, and Greathouse, who made that play against Penn State. But if they do get down, Andy, then the recipe becomes different, and just it has to. Now, they would have to get down a lot, because even when they were down against Penn State, I'll give them credit. They came out in the second half, and guess what they didn't do? Panic. But I don't think they were worried about Penn State running away from them on the scoreboard. And so maybe it was a different mentality. We'll see what happens in this game tonight. But I asked you earlier tonight, do they have a tangible edge over Ohio State in any area? And we both had a tough time trying to come up with one outside of maybe that their kicker seems fairly hot. That he was nails. He had a game winner against Penn State. But right now, Ohio State, this is the one to seal the deal. However, the pressure to make sure you get it done and not just have this run is real, because they lose this game tonight as a 9-point favorite. Everything comes crashing back again. All the narrative that they've squashed kind of seeps up again a little bit.
Right.
Like, where were they in the big game?
It's almost like when Ohio State beat Miami, when no one gave Ohio State a chance, and how the U hasn't been the U since. Like it's if that were to happen tonight, I'm not saying Ohio State would fall apart like that, but it would. I don't know. I mean, maybe I hang around with a bunch of Ohio State fans, but I don't see anyone thinking Ohio State's going to lose tonight.
No, not even from just if you're speaking from your heart standpoint.
Right.
The only thing you could come back to, Tim, and we'll bring you back in, is that these games against Notre Dame the past couple of years have been
interesting.
Yes, they've been kind of a push and pull. They've been lower scoring. They've been in the teens. They've been games that you kind of grind out, and that does lean towards Notre Dame. But those teams are not this team. I know their identity is the same, but this does. If I asked you the question, what's more likely, Ohio State blowing them out or Notre Dame winning the game, what would you say?
It would be right there in the middle, because this is a really good defense Notre Dame's got. I don't think it's as good a defense as, like, for example, Texas, and I could be wrong. I'm just talking about just across the board, the athletes they've got. But it's a really, really good defense. And you play into their hands like Ohio State did with Michigan. I mean, who saw that coming, right, from the standpoint of playing into their hands, of challenging the best unit on Michigan's entire team, at times to a muscle flexing contest. I mean, you got what you had coming. I don't see Ohio State doing that anymore. Both of these teams, as you pointed out earlier, had a moment of truth. Notre Dame after the Northern Illinois game, after the Northern Illinois shocking loss, and Ohio State after the shocking loss, really, to Michigan. They each had a moment of truth, and really their players, in my opinion, took over ownership of their respective teams, because that, as Ryan Day will tell you all the time, that's what it finally comes down to, is players making plays and leaning on each other and holding each other accountable. And Ohio State, the last 3 games, has played like the best team in the country, like we thought it would all year. Well, that's kind of folly when you think about it, to think a team's going to play with an edge like that. But, this isn't being homerism or whatever else. I mean, Ohio State's favored by 8 or 9 for a reason, because on paper – and just watching with your eyeballs, it's the better team going into this. But if you help the other team, like I said, you got what you got coming. But I see Ohio State holding sway. There's too many guys on this Ohio State team who want to go out the right way. It's the reason they came back. And then you've got a guy like Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. But Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom, to me, are the real linchpins tonight, because it's hard to see Jeremiah Love and their other running backs really getting out of the gate and staying there, if you follow my drift, from one play to the next. And so that's why you lean to Ohio State. I mean, just in the right places, they've got the right guys. And like I said earlier, Tyleik Williams, keep your eye on him tonight.
Yes, I think he's a big part of it. I think what you said about Notre Dame going up against this Ohio State team, they've got to keep it within arm's reach. I just don't see them being that team that their offense just They struggled to score 3 points in the first half against Penn State. I'll give them credit. They hit some big plays, and that's what they have to do. I come back to Riley Leonard. He's a senior. He's a dual-threat guy. He's going to have to run tonight. He knows that. He threw a couple of really bad picks in the Penn State game, but he got over on him because with under 5 minutes to go, he hit Greathouse with dudes slipping on the field, and then they got a great turnover. It really was their recipe. Like, their recipe. Stick with the run game. Hit up one big play. Try to get a big turnover that changes the game. Like, check. Get a game-winning kick. Check. Like, that's what they are. And that's who they are. And by the way, their backup quarterback had to come in. Steve Angeli actually kept that thing afloat for them when Riley Leonard went out. But, man, to have Anthony Knapp, the freshman, on the left side of that line, and it's going to be a wild ride for them tonight. If Ohio State, Andy, does what they've been doing, calls an aggressive game, mixes it up, and takes their shots, and defensively holds up against the run, they should have a pretty good night.
I would absolutely think so. Yes, I think Ohio State comes out either side playing fast. I think Notre Dame's going to feel the difference.
All right, Tim, give me your score, buddy.
I got Ohio State 31-17 with no apologies.
Oh, jeez.
I'm right there with
I love it. I have Ohio State 31, Notre Dame 13.
I like that too. I'll go 30-17.
Ooh.
Get a couple field goals in there, maybe. All right, Tim. Look forward to all your coverage. Enjoy your time. Big Cat, great job as usual. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating a national championship. Keep it locked right here on The Fan.
Bishop is a media legend. We have no idea where the other guys came from. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Curtis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Curtis & Associates. Attorneys who care.
Every hockey player dreams of a hat trick.
And if you've ever seen one, you know it's a thrill when the hats hit the ice.
And now, it's hats off to Honda Marysville, because this season, every time a Blue Jacket scores a hat trick at Nationwide Arena,
Honda Marysville will give one lucky fan a 2-year lease on a new Honda Civic Sport on the spot.
So come to a game and cheer us on. Who knows?
A new car from Honda Marysville might be closer than you think.
Official rules at HondaMarysville.com/hat trick.
Why tailgate when you can Schmidtgate? Schmidt's can cater your championship party and take the hassle off your hands. We're talking our world-famous Bahama Mamas, German potato salad, bratwurst, and those irresistible cream puffs. We'll even deliver and set it up for you. Or come visit our carryout at the restaurant and grab some to cook up at home. Either way, the favorite pregame meal is with Schmidt's. Order your Schmidtgate pregame meal at schmidthaus.com. That's schmidthaus.com. Schmidt's, real German food.
Meet Abdullah Mahmood, problem gambling counselor at Maryhaven.
More and more people are falling into problem gambling. It can happen so quickly that you don't realize it until you face a crisis. Gambling issues often connect to depression, anxiety, or other addictions. Maryhaven's experts offer comprehensive care. You and your loved ones can count on mental, emotional, and financial guidance.
Confidential and judgment-free. Go to Maryhaven.com today.
Hi, I'm Laura De Leon, president of Key Bank in Central Ohio. At Key, we're all about helping our neighbors. As your bank, we understand that we have both the ability and the responsibility to help our neighbors thrive. Whether they're trying to buy a car to take them to their new job, or tackle debt that feels unmanageable, or simply trying to do more with what they have, Key Bank is there to meet them in that moment. Key Bank opens doors.
All credit products are subject to credit approval. Key Bank, member FDIC.
She, lying there longingly, hopeful. Perhaps this is the night he tries.
You, before the bathroom mirror, bearish belly hanging over the worn elastic of your briefs. If only there were a way to help you muster the fire, the attention span. Alas, there is a place, nay, an oasis plentiful with wands and rings, potions and elixirs to restore your vitality, your passion. Lion's Den, the official oasis of pleasure, passion, and romance.
It's Toyota truck and all-wheel drive season with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else. Now through February 3rd, get a great lease deal or $2,000 customer cash on a new 24 or 25 Tundra. Excludes TRD Pro. Or get 4.99 APR financing on remaining new 24 Tacomas and new 25s. With approved credit through TFS. Excludes TRD Pro and Trail Hunter models. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Get yourself Toyota ready. Toyota, let's go places.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival, the pinnacle of rock festivals in America, returns in 2025 with Linkin Park, Korn, Go! 2 nights of Metallica, No Repeat Weekend, plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Alice in Chains, Rob Zombie, 3 Days Grace, Alice Cooper, I Prevail, Jimmy Eat World, Chevelle, Motionless in White, and so many more. May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Passes on sale now at Sonic Temple